What is going on? So today, a little bit different. We're going to be working with the backyard pond. Now we stocked some perch, some crappie. We got a couple channels in here. There's a lot of bullhead catfish, so we're going to see if we can catch some of the bigger ones that we got. But I did manage to catch a little tiny one. There's a giant school. You can see it's like a black cloud. It's come through here. There's like hundreds of them. There was 2 giant clouds, but I only seen the one. And when I seen it, it was going to be right over here. Let me show you. It's right over here. And they were just swimming. So I was like, let me get the net. So I went over there. And I managed to get a decent amount, but I only wanted to keep the one. So we're going to see how long he stays alive and how long we can raise it. Maybe see how big he can get. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to take one of these blue barrels right here. I'll cut the top off of it, and I'll put maybe a filtration system in there and definitely a bubbler so it's got plenty of oxygen. And I might raise them up and sell them to people who want to put them in their pond. We got a big overpopulation of bullhead catfish. Like every year there's at least thousands of them. You can just see them swarming the surface. Nice black cloud. Now I don't know if you can see this. We also stocked a whole bunch of minnows in there. I put about a good 5-gallon bucket worth of minnows in here. You see the ripples on top of the surface right over there. I've seen turtles. They come up and get them. We got probably about 6 to 7 turtles. I know there's a snapping turtle in there, probably about that big. I was going to put out a line eventually and catch them, and then we'll do a catch, clean, cook for it. But pretty much the focus of today is we're going to grab, I got some crawlers over there. We're going to sit on the dock. We're going to see what it'll eat off the bottom, a nice crawler. See if we can't get some of those bigger bullheads. See what other kind of fish are there. I know for a fact that the crappie, man, they actually died. They really don't thrive that well in here. But the perch are doing great. I do need to catch some bluegills to put in here. And I put in a fountain too. I put a fountain in right there to kind of aerate everything. I just got to cover up that cord. Yeah, so that's the fountain. It's primarily to get the water moving a little bit, add some air to everything. That way, you know, fish that require oxygen, which is like all fish, they got that extra boost instead of just having normal pond water that's just sitting there, you know. We're gonna get the crawler put on. We're gonna get it sent, see what we can catch. We'll probably be out here for like a little bit. Might do a couple other things with the pond. I haven't really decided yet. But in the meantime, I did get a question on why the merch was getting discontinued. So this is one of the shirts that I'm working on. The back looks pretty good. The logo on the back kind of needs to be smaller. And all the camel print that I made needs to shrink up. It needs to be about this big, or a little bit smaller actually. But look at the way that they printed this logo. Like Teespring kind of like messed up. It's supposed to be smaller. It's not supposed to be all spread out. That's why we discontinued it. I got some samples in there. I even got a normal camo logo shirt. Like, I mean, the placement on the front was perfect, but on the back, the whole logo on the back was shifted off to one side. So I gotta wait for the samples of the new product to come in, and as long as I approve them, we'll have a relaunch video coming soon, hopefully. And then worst case scenario, we'll go through 2 or 3 different companies, but I can't sell you merch that looks like this, okay? It needs to be perfect. That way you guys get your money's worth, and it just doesn't look like, I don't know, a 5-year-old printed it off and like sent it off. Because like everything on this shirt was supposed to be way smaller. The camel print was not supposed to be this big. But that's enough ranting about Teespring. We're gonna get to fishing right now, and hopefully we can catch at least something from our pond before we decide what we're gonna stock in it next. Don't know if you guys can see it, but that school of catfish I was telling you about is right here on the surface. Let's see, it's right in front of Maya. Let me see if I can give you guys my vision. See that black cloud right there? And then you got Maya right there. This is that giant school of bullheads. even better where they're at right now. I will say it's pretty cool watching those baby catfish. They're a little skittish at first, but eventually they were like, hey, what's this? And they school up. Just added a brand new worm to this. More lively. Hoping we catch at least something while we're here. But worst case scenario, we'll probably start stocking it. We might even work on the bullhead tank so we can try to reduce the population, because the more bullhead catfish you get, like they overpopulate pretty much a lot of different ponds. So you need a decent sized pond for them, but you can use them in aquariums too. But as long as we can control the population of those, it's not going to stunt the growth of all the other fish in the pond. And we do need to add more panfish in here, like perch, bluegill, sunfish. I really like sunfish and bluegill. Maybe some pumpkin seeds too. They're really fun to catch, but they're like the friendliest of all the fish. As soon as we get more of those, we'll have a decent population. They'll control all the minnows and everything, because we got about 500 minnows or more. You can, like, it's a giant feeding frenzy. But we'll be out here for a little bit longer, see what we can get, and then worst case scenario, we'll start working on the tanks to hold our bullhead catfish. It's just gonna be a waiting game.
2 hours later.
I'm still got the pole in there just in case, you know, we do catch catfish or whatever's in here. So we got one of these barrels right here. We got 2 more over there, and then Maya, she's chilling over there. So let me show you the barrels that we're working with. Now I believe these are 55-gallon drums. We used to have an old dock that was floating here, but that dock kind of got weathered, and I used that dock to build my little shooting platform right there. So these are the 55-gallon drums that we're working with. I was going to use this originally for the fountain here, but they don't float completely even if they're full of water. So we got these, and I'm thinking right now it's still got water in it. I'm going to drill a whole bunch of holes in here, and they're not very big. They're smaller than the size of a penny, so no fish should really be able to get through them. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it right here at the 50-gallon mark, and I'll put a pool float. I'm going to put pool floats around it, probably about right here. That way it keeps the barrel floating. So I don't know how it's going to react once it's cut and put in there and everything. To keep it floating on the surface of the pond, but we're going to try our best to keep it in this small section where the fountain is, because this is going to be the most oxygenated section because of the fountain that we have. Alright, we got our Sawzall, and I'm going to drill holes in it first. We're using this size drill bit, nice and small, and then we'll be adding a little bit bigger, just so we can kind of get all the holes drilled first, and then after that we'll chop the top off. That way it's got more rigidity, if you will. So let's see here. Alright, now we'll move on to our bigger drill bit. It's a little hot. There we go. Oh yeah, that's not too bad at all. So, we're going to slice this board up in nice sized chunks as best as we can. We're going to chunk this board in 4 to 6 different little spots just to keep it floating above the surface. So I'm gonna get this cut. Like I said, this was only $5 on sale at Meijer. No other place had one. So I'll get this cut and everything, just to see how we're looking. And then I'll let you guys know. Chunked up into sizes about that. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it up at the top. I'm gonna try it to where these pieces are equal, all at the top here. I just gotta make sure all these chunks are about the same size. I just need to ensure that it's gonna float evenly on the top. Okay. All 4 sides. Just a little bit. All right, now let's test it out. You want to make sure it's going to stay floating. Fills all the way up. We'll know how it's going to be. All right, looks like it's holding up quite nice. Would you look at that? I think that's going to be quite nice floating around the pond. All right, so we got our rope right there. We have it tied off right there, and that rope goes all the way out. That way it doesn't interfere with our power cord over there. So now that we can see that it's fully operational, it's not sinking or anything, it is a little dark right now, but I'll see if I can't find a little bullhead catfish, just so we can start the process of keeping them in here until someone's ready to buy them. A little bit dark right now. As soon as the sun hits the pond in the morning, and we're gonna come and see what we can get. And I'll leave this barrel in here just to see how well it does.